Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to the channel where we carefully lift the velvet curtain surrounding the British royal family. Today, we explore a story filled with defiance, desperation, and what appears to be the final unraveling of one of the monarchy's most unconventional relationships, the union between the Duke and Duchess of York. The atmosphere around Royal Lodge has reportedly become increasingly tense, culminating in what insiders describe as a dramatic and conclusive rupture. The focus, of course, is on Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, who after decades of enduring turbulent waters beside her former husband, Prince Andrew, is said to have made the monumental decision to finally and completely sever their connection. This is not merely a physical parting. It represents a profound emotional and financial declaration of independence. Before we dive deeper into this royal saga, a tale of lost dignity, financial distress, and an urgent quest for redemption, please take a moment to support our channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more in-depth explorations of royal affairs, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us continue to bring these extraordinary stories to you. The life of Sarah Ferguson, affectionately known as Fergie, has always been marked by dizzying highs and heartbreaking lows. Now, at the age of 60, reports suggest she has reached a critical turning point, one where she believes she has nothing left to lose. According to close sources, the foundation of this life-altering decision lies in the total erosion of her standing within royal circles. The dignity and grace she painstakingly rebuilt over the years appear to have slipped away once more. She has reportedly been removed from several charitable patronages, stripped of the prestige once extended to her through Prince Andrew, and, in effect, left without the protection of the royal establishment. Ironically, this very state of depletion has given her a newfound sense of liberation, the strength to finally stand on her own. For years, the public viewed her relationship with Andrew as an unusual yet functional partnership. Divorced but cohabiting at Royal Lodge, maintaining an appearance of friendship and mutual support. For Fergie, it offered a sense of familiarity, security, and closeness to the royal sphere. But that fragile stability has now shattered. The catalyst for this final rupture can be traced directly to the devastating fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. While Prince Andrew's connection to the disgraced financier remains one of the darkest chapters for the royal family, Sarah Ferguson was not spared from the public storm. A resurfaced email sent by her to Epstein triggered outrage and reignited scrutiny over her judgment and associations. Even an indirect connection was enough to undo years of effort spent restoring her reputation through charitable work and positive public engagements. The respect she had worked so hard to reclaim was suddenly swept away, leaving her reputation in ruins once again. Now insiders say the former Duchess is determined to win back that lost respect, to reclaim her sense of dignity and self-worth. Her reported plan is a daring one, to show her vulnerability openly, to share her pain with the public, and to seek compassion for the grave mistake that overshadowed her many acts of goodwill and service. Those close to her say this resolve has solidified into a dramatic decision, a refusal to continue living in the shadow of her past or her former husband. Sarah Ferguson has finally said a firm no to Prince Andrew. She believes the time has come to fight for her own story, on her own terms. She is ready to begin a completely new chapter, one written not by royal scandal or shared history, but by her own voice, purpose, and independence. An insider has revealed striking new details about Sarah Ferguson's next move. The Duchess of York, mother of two, is reportedly determined to take her story into her own hands, literally, by writing a tell-all memoir. But this will not be another lighthearted children's book or a piece of historical fiction. This time, it will be a raw, deeply personal, and potentially explosive account of her life. Her goal, sources say, is to lay bare the immense ordeal she has endured, particularly in the aftermath of the single devastating mistake that seemed to erase public appreciation for her decades of charitable service and personal growth. The motivation behind this literary undertaking is urgent and twofold. First, she is said to be deeply anxious about her finances. Money troubles have haunted Sarah Ferguson for most of her adult life, a recurring burden that intensified after her divorce and departure from royal duties. The loss of steady income, coupled with the withdrawal of her charitable patronages, has left her in a precarious financial position once again. Second, and perhaps even more compelling, is her desperate desire to set the record straight. She feels misrepresented, misunderstood, and unfairly vilified by a public narrative shaped by her proximity to controversy. Writing this memoir, insiders say, is her opportunity to reclaim control, to share her truth, rewrite the story, and make her plea for redemption on her own terms. Interestingly, this decision to pursue a solo memoir was not her original plan. Early reports suggested that Sarah and Prince Andrew had discussed the idea of co-authoring a joint tell-all, a coordinated effort to manage their reputations together and present a united front. The intent, it seems, was to mitigate damage while reshaping their image as a pair seeking rehabilitation and closure. However, that plan has completely fallen apart. Prince Andrew, keenly aware of his own precarious standing within the royal hierarchy, reportedly refused to participate. Sources say he recognized the potential backlash that even a carefully managed joint book could trigger and chose to distance himself entirely. For Sarah, this refusal became the breaking point. Realizing that waiting for Andrew meant remaining silent and stagnant indefinitely, she decided to move forward alone. This bold step, however, comes with enormous risk, not only for her but also for the entire royal establishment. According to insiders, the contents of this proposed memoir could be nothing short of explosive. It is alleged that if she proceeds without interference from Andrew or the palace, she may reveal sensitive and controversial information about senior royals. As someone who spent years inside the royal circle and maintained a close relationship with Andrew even after their divorce, Fergie has witnessed private conversations, behind-the-scenes behaviors, and personal dynamics the public has never known. The mere possibility of her exposing such secrets has reportedly caused serious concern within Buckingham Palace. The source claims that Prince Andrew acted swiftly, warning Sarah of the severe consequences she might face if she exposed confidential information. His warning, said to carry the implicit authority of the institution, likely emphasized the social and financial fallout that could follow if she crossed the monarchy's invisible boundary of discretion. But instead of being intimidated, Sarah's response was defiant. Rather than retreating, she reportedly met the warning with anger and resolve. What followed was a heated confrontation, a major clash that symbolized the complete breakdown of their long, complicated partnership. In a moment of both despair and determination, Sarah Ferguson reportedly looked at her former husband and declared, "Enough is enough." That phrase, insiders say, perfectly captures her emotional state. A woman cornered by circumstance, yet determined to reclaim her independence, whatever the cost. The clash between financial survival and the desperate need to repair a damaged reputation has now collided head-on with the monarchy's unspoken rule of silence. According to those closest to the situation, the argument between Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew was far from a polite disagreement. It was explosive. Years of suppressed resentment over money, public embarrassment, and conflicting visions for the future erupted into a fierce confrontation. The emotional tension that had quietly simmered for decades finally burst into full view. The fallout from this clash extends well beyond the former couple themselves. Insiders report that their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, have been deeply affected. These two women have spent their entire lives balancing love and loyalty between their parents, striving to protect both while building their own independent families. Now faced with the looming possibility of an ugly and very public rift, alongside the threat of royal backlash, they find themselves trapped in an impossible situation, caught in the emotional and political crossfire. To understand the depth of Sarah Ferguson's current rebellion, one must look back at her long, complicated history with the royal family. Since her divorce in 1996, she has lived in a precarious state, constantly striving to sustain herself through commercial ventures, media appearances, and public engagements. Some of these endeavors succeeded, while others only attracted controversy, further damaging her already fragile reputation. Throughout it all, there seemed to be an unspoken agreement. As long as Sarah remained discreet, she would not be completely abandoned by Andrew or by the institution itself. That quiet understanding served as a lifeline, a form of protection. But by declaring "enough is enough" and pursuing a tell-all memoir, she is effectively cutting that lifeline. In doing so, she is openly defying the cardinal royal rule, loyalty above all else. This is not an impulsive act. It is a calculated gamble, a belief that her truth, even if it unsettles the monarchy, will finally bring her freedom and financial stability. If she moves forward with the memoir, the consequences could be monumental. What might she reveal? Possibly details about the inner dynamics between the late Queen Elizabeth II and her children, or behind the scenes rivalries and political maneuvering within palace walls. For the royal family, the idea of Sarah Ferguson, long regarded as an outsider, holding such explosive knowledge is deeply unsettling. It highlights just how delicate and complex the balance of power within the monarchy truly is. Prince Andrew's refusal to co-author the book appears rooted in self-preservation. He is desperate to maintain what little goodwill remains between himself, King Charles III, and the royal institution. Any further scandal could erase even that. For him, silence equals survival. For Sarah, silence equals erasure. Their priorities, his need for invisibility and her need for vindication, could not be more incompatible. This divergence has inevitably torn their partnership apart. At 66 years old, Sarah's decision carries a poignant finality. This is not the impulsive rebellion of a younger woman. It is the deliberate act of someone who knows her time to reshape her legacy is running out. She wants her grandchildren, Sienna, August, and Ernest, to remember her not as a figure of controversy or scandal, but as a woman who fought to reclaim her dignity and define her own story. The pressing question now is whether Prince Andrew's warnings, reinforced by the full weight of royal authority, will be enough to stop her from publishing a memoir that could shake the institution to its core. Or has Sarah Ferguson reached a true point of no return, where self-preservation and financial necessity outweigh any lingering fear of royal reprisal? This unfolding saga lays bare the immense toll that Prince Andrew's disgrace has exacted, not only on his own life, but on his entire family. The unusual living arrangement at Royal Lodge, once seen as a symbol of enduring friendship and mutual support between Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew, has now reached its breaking point. The constant glare of public scrutiny, combined with unrelenting financial strain, has made it impossible to sustain. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie now find themselves in an agonizing position. They must choose between standing by their mother's quest for truth and independence, or aligning with their father's commitment to royal silence and stability. It is a painful dilemma, one that demands immense emotional strength and careful diplomacy as they attempt to navigate this growing family crisis. What is unfolding is far more than a marital disagreement. It represents a seismic shift in the decades-long relationship between Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew. Stripped, allegedly, of her dignity, facing significant financial hardship, and driven by the lingering fallout from the Epstein scandal, Sarah is said to have rejected Andrew's influence and resolved to tell her story in her own voice. Her forthcoming memoir, if it proceeds, could expose the private truths and vulnerabilities of the royal establishment in a way no other insider has dared. Prince Andrew's efforts to suppress the project have reportedly only fueled more conflict. Their confrontation, described as fierce and final, has left their daughters trapped in the emotional and reputational crossfire. This moment gives us much to consider about the true cost of royal association and the limits of the monarchy's tolerance for internal rebellion. The publication of Sarah Ferguson's memoir could send tremors across the Atlantic, altering her legacy forever, either as an act of liberation or a step too far. What do you think of this extraordinary situation? Should Sarah Ferguson go ahead with her tell-all memoir, risking the fury of the royal family for the sake of personal redemption and financial freedom? Or should she yield to Prince Andrew's warnings and remain bound by the discretion the monarchy demands? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspectives bring depth and insight to this ongoing royal saga. And before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into the unfolding world of celebrity and royal intrigue. Thank you for watching.